Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we will present our task given in course Law 2533. Introducing you to our group members. First, me Muhammad Safwan bin Shuaimi, and my partner is Muhammad Akmal Hakim bin Tarmizi. Governance in Islamic finance institution. So, why should corporate governance practice are need in their important to Islamic financial institution? Strong corporate governance is a vital component of the Islamic finance industry. This concept stressed the importance of transparency, accountability, and trustworthiness. The importance of adhering to this corporate governance norm is emphasized with the practice being linked to God, especially for God-fearing people. The concept of Tawhid, which encourage Muslims to totally obey God, is one of their directives. It emphasizes Muslims' special bond with Allah. This bond also prevents men from acting in ways that harm other living beings. Corporate governance is giving spiritual support by establishing entire subordination to the Creator and insisting on trustworthiness, transparency, and responsibility in all relationships. In Islam, statutory corporate governance observe Islamic financial organization adhering to a set of laws known as Sharia law. In accordance with uh, Islamic principle, acquired from the Quran and Hadith, Sharia governs the bank operation and transaction. It is worth repeating that Sharia plays an important role in Islamic banking, not only guiding bank transaction and operation, but also in monitoring and overseeing the act of all parties within the banking system. Sharia require Islamic banks to follow the law mentioned, such as removing riba, which is interest, in all of their transactions, and ensuring that banking operations do not manipulate or cause injustice to the bank shareholder. So here are the 14 principles of corporate governance. The first should be headed by an effective board, which assumes specific responsibility. The board of directors is ultimately responsible for the Islamic bank's good stewardship. It is in charge of maximizing shareholder value and defending stakeholder interests. Next, to ensure efficient governance and monitoring, the board should have good and sufficient knowledge and competence. As the Islamic bank expand in size and complexity, the board should continue to acquire and maintain an adequate degree of expertise. The next principle should be an effective board composition with a strong independent element. The board should select the right board size, taking into account how to conduct board deliberation efficiently and effectively. Independent directors should ensure that the board maintains a strong sense of independence in both thought and behavior. The third principle is should be a clear division of responsibility at the helm of an institution. The chairman of the board should be a non-executive role with no executive responsibility at the parent or linked institution. The non-executive chairman plays a vital role in developing constructive debate on major topics and bring the level of independence and professional judgment to the board. The fourth principle should be a formal and transparent process for the appointment of director to the board of appointment of CEO. The appointment of an Islamic bank's director and CEO needs Bank Negara Malaysia previous with written approval. Islamic banks must submit a new application for reappointment of a director at least 3 months before the data of the AGM for directors whose term of office is not subject to the 2 or 3 year requirement but are due to retire either by rotation or by age limit pursuant to Section 129 subset 6 of the Companies Act 1965. Uh, the the next principle, direct, director director must be person of caliber, credibility, and integrity with the necessary skills and experience and be able to devote time and commitment. Members of the board should come from a variety of background and have experience and have expertise and experience in a variety of relevant fields such as finance, accounting, legal, business, management, information technology, and investment management. Next principle, board should meet regularly and be duty furnished with complete and timely information. Board meetings should be held on a monthly basis, but no less than once every 2 months in any case. Individual directors are expected to contribute actively to the board function and to devote sufficient time and effort to properly carry out their responsibility each financial year. Individual director must attend at least 75% of the board meetings. 7. Formal and ongoing assessment of the effectiveness of the board as a whole, directors and the CEO. The board should establish a procedure led by the nominating committee for an annual evaluation of efficiency of the board as a whole, its various board committee, and the contribution of each individual director and the CEO based on objective performance criteria and set KPIs. On the regular basis, the chairman should have the opportunity to speak individually and candidly with each director about the contribution and performance. Next, principle number 8 should be a formal and transparent procedure for fixing the remuneration package of board members, CEO, and senior management. Remuneration of directors, CEO, and senior management should be developed under condition of objectivity and transparency. The level of remuneration should be sufficient to attract the retained qualified directors, but they must be balanced against the need to ensure that the Islamic bank's funds are not used to subsidize excessive remuneration package, thereby risking the Islamic bank's long-term viability, solvency, and reputation.
Okay, next principle is principle 9. Person empowered with decision-making authority, including directors, should exercise care to avoid situations that may give rise to a conflict of interest situation. An Islamic bank directors, officers, and staff must conduct their business with the highest level of ethical integrity. In a conflict of interest situation, the ability of the person concerned to behave objectively in the best interest of the Islamic bank is called into question. The 10th principle is there should be clear separation between shareholders and management so as not to impede sound corporate governance. An Islamic bank's management should not include shareholders. They should hold the board of directors accountable for the Islamic bank's management and rely on the management to operate the institution day-to-day operation. The controlling shareholders and the management function should be clearly separated, with these shareholders not holding any senior management position in the Islamic bank. The 11th principle is there should be robust auditing requirement and the auditor board and management need to maintain professional and objective relationship. The importance of independent independent, competent, and skilled auditors in the corporate governance process cannot be overstated. External audit should be carried out by totally independent auditors with no economic ties to the Islamic bank that would compromise their objectivity and independence. The 12th principle is licensed institutions should engage in regular, effective, and fair communication with shareholders and stakeholders. The board, the board must establish an effective communication policy that allow the board and management to communicate effectively with shareholders, stakeholders, and the general public, whether through disclosure of annual general meeting (AGM). Islamic banks should be as clear, detailed, and honest as possible when releasing information. Information should be disclosed as soon as possible by Islamic bank. The next principle is conducting corporate governance in a transparent manner can reinforce sound corporate governance. Appropriate disclosure is necessary to facilitate market discipline and strong corporate governance, so that shareholders, other stakeholders, and market participants can effectively understand the Islamic bank's financial and management status, particularly in regard to its safety and soundness. And last principle is board is collectively responsible and accountable for the veracity of disclosure and management of risk. The board is responsible for ensuring that an Islamic bank's material risks are monitored and effectively controlled, as well as whether the bank's operation procedure, internal control, and system for assessing, measuring, controlling, monitoring, and reporting risks are adequate and effective. It is strongly recommended that the annual report include a concise summary of the board responsibilities. The background and function of the Islamic Financial Service Board. The background is the Islamic Financial Services Board (IFSB), headquartered in Kuala Lumpur, was established on November 3, 2002 and began operation on March 10, 2003. It is an international standard-setting group comprised of regulatory and supervisory agencies with a stake in the soundness and stability of the Islamic financial service industry, which is generally defined to cover banking, capital market, and insurance. In order to achieve this goal, the IFSB encouraged the growth of international standards that are Sharia compliant and recommending their adoption. The IFSB works complement that one of the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, the International Organization of Securities Commission, and the International Association of Insurance Supervisors until the time comes. The IFSB 187 members include 81 regulatory and supervisory bodies, 10 international intergovernmental organizations, and 96 market participants, financial institutions, professional companies, industry association, and stock exchange, active in 57 jurisdictions as of December 2021. Malaysia, the IFSB host country, has legislated the Islamic Financial Services Board Act 2002, which grant the IFSB the same privilege and immunities as other international association and diplomatic operation. The function is to provide guidance on efficient supervision and regulation of institutions that offer Islamic financial products, as well as to develop criteria for identifying, measuring, managing, and disclosing risks for the Islamic financial service industry while taking into account international standards for valuation, income and expense calculation and disclosure. Second is to encourage the growth of a sensible and transparent Islamic financial services industry by establishing new or adapting existing international standards that follow the Sharia laws and recommending for acceptance. Third one is connecting and cooperating with organizations that are currently creating criteria for the sustainability and soundness of international monetary and financial system, as well as those of countries involved. The fourth one is to conduct research into the Islamic financial services business and to publish papers and evaluation on it. Last one is to create and organize efforts for the development of instruments and methods for efficient operation and risk management. Next is objective of accounting and auditing organization for Islamic financial institution for Islamic bank and takaful operators. First one is to advance accounting, auditing governance and ethical philosophy in relation to the activities of Islamic financial institution while considering worldwide standard and practice that adhere to Islamic Sharia regulation. Second is we are training seminars, publication of monthly newsletter, compilation of report, research and other means is used to promote accounting, auditing, governance and ethical ideas relevant to the activities of Islamic financial institution and their applicability. Next is to minimize conflict and inconsistency between fatwa and application by this organization, achieve conformity of similarity to the degree possible in conception and application among the Sharia Supervisory Board of Islamic Financial Institution, with a view of activating the role of the Sharia Supervisory Board of Islamic financial institution and central banks through the development, issue and interpretation of Sharia standard and Sharia rules for investment, financing and insurance. Next is to contact relevant regulatory organisation, Islamic financial institution, other financial institution that provide Islamic finance services, and accounting and auditing companies in order to apply AAO-IFI standard statement and guideline. Last one is to provide educational and training program, including professional development program to accountancy, auditing, et- auditing. Sorry. Last one is to provide educational and training programs, including professional development programs in accountancy, auditing, ethics, governance, sharia, and other relevant fields, in order to increase knowledge of Islamic banking and finance and to develop greater professionalism. AAO-IFI will conduct training, examination, and certification on its own and in collaboration with other organizations.
Next, adoption. Many countries and jurisdictions around the world, like the United Arab Emirates, have adopted AAOIFI Sharia standard as mandatory regulatory requirement, including Bahrain, Jordan, uh, and Mauritius, Nigeria, Qatar, and the Qatar International Financial Centre, Oman, Pakistan, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen. AAOIFI Sharia standards are known by a series of Sharia Islamic finance, Sharia consultation, educational, training organization, as well as non-banking financial institution. Legal base for national standard have been formed in nation like Kazakhstan based on AAOIFI Sharia principle and have been recommended as guideline in country like Kuwait. AAOIFI Sharia standards have been developed by many Sharia principal consultancies, auditing firms, takaful or insurance companies, non-banking finance company, capital market institution, educational training institution, Sharia scholar and expert, in addition to regulatory institution. There are some lists of some countries and jurisdictions that follow AAOIFI Sharia standard fully, partially, or as guidance. First, Afghanistan. Next, Astana Financial Service Authority. Bahrain, Dubai International Financial Center, and Iraq. So that's all from our group. Thank you.